Hey everybody, Dr. Flight here. Hope you're doing great today. It's good to have you tune in. And what we're going to focus on is a fairly short video. We're going to focus on this idea of consumer and competitive regulations that are associated with pricing. So when we deal with pricing, probably more so than many of the other areas, maybe not advertising, but many of the other areas don't have quite as many implications in the power of pricing that the power of pricing has in affecting competition and fairness in the marketplace. So fairness in the marketplace is an important concept in a free market, kind of environment. We want to make sure that competitors are on an equal playing field to compete against each other, and pricing can create a disequilibrium between competitors. We also want to make sure that customers have a fair understanding of the marketplace in order to make a good decision. And so we don't want to take advantage of customers. We don't want to impair their ability to make a good decision because that would, again, create an unfair competitive environment. And in market-based economies, we want to avoid that. So there are some practices that we'll talk about. And we're going to just kind of talk about each one of these, and then we'll also talk about gray markets just to introduce the concept. So deceptive or illegal price advertising, predatory pricing, price discrimination, and then price fixing. And there are certain laws in place to protect against this stuff, but it's more of an ethical kind of like talk more than anything else. And the things that you can do are dangerous to the competitive environment, plus they create just bad business and bad products, and there's a whole lot of negative effects, from doing these types of things. So just going to talk a little bit about deceptive or illegal price advertising, and then we'll go from there. So deceptive pricing would include this idea where we create an environment or an impression that the customer has, and they think they're getting a different value proposition than what they're actually receiving, or what they're actually getting. So this might be something in advertising where we advertise one item, and they come in expecting that item, and they don't get it, or they don't receive it. It might be one where here's one where we have a sale or a product promotion, and then in the store it's not available. And so the customer comes into the store, they think they're getting a deal, or they're looking for the deal, and they can't find it because it's not there. Those are deceptive type things. We'll try to fool or fake or try to convince the customer of something that's not there. Bait and switch type environments where we get them in, we lure them in with one thing, and then that product or that offer is not available when they actually come to make a purchase. One other idea here, which is not so much illegal, is something called a loss leader pricing strategy. And again, it's not illegal, and a lot of companies do it. Is what they'll do is they'll take a product and they'll offer it to customers even though it loses money for them. But the fact that they've sold the product, it brings customers in for other products. So a loss leader might be, for instance, if you have for men and women, ladies, where we have shavers to shave, right? There'll be the handle, and then there'll be the blade sold separately. In a lot of cases, it used to be anyways, that the handle would be offered to the customer at a very low price, well below cost, and the actual razor part would be priced really high. So you bought the handle, but then you'd have to buy the replacement razors to fit the handle. And so while they lost money on the handle, they made lots of money on the razors. That's called a loss leader type of a product. And again, that's not illegal, but it locks the customer into a purchase pattern that they have to abide by in order to receive the benefit of the product. So you could see how that could be a dangerous precedent when people get locked in, and then the prices change after they're locked in. That could be a deceptive type of a pricing practice that would be something to think about, or something that you want to have a little bit of concern over. All right, predatory pricing. Prices are set low with the intent to drive competitors out of business. This is a difficult one to prove. However, there are examples of this, and in particular, not only are prices set low, but they're typically priced below cost, and that's an important consideration. So in other words, like, I am purposely dropping my price below my cost for a short period of time, and my competitors can't really match that. So in the interim period of time, they go out of business. Once they go out of business, I raise my price. Now, again, you might say, well, that'd be pretty hard to do because you're selling your product below cost, so won't you go out of business too? And yeah, there have to be extenuating circumstances. But here's an example. What if you're, for instance, Walmart? You're a big corporation. You have stores in lots of locations. Well, let's say you put a new store in a new location and you have all your prices super low. Now that store is going to lose money, but the rest of your stores are going to make money. So in other words, you as a business, you can certainly get by and you can absorb the loss of revenue in that one store for a period of time because the rest of your business is making you money, right? So in the short term, I can go ahead and lower my price, and in the meantime, at that one store location, the competitors are all going to feel the pressure, and that some of them are going to go out of business, and then I can start raising my price. So that's like clearly illegal. That's not legal. You can't do that. You can't price in a way that's going to hurt the market condition, and you can't use other businesses or other business interests to support that strategy. Now, this is illegal, but it's also very difficult to prove, as the slide indicates. It's hard to, it's hard to question this, or you have to do a bunch of counting to be able to do it. Now, again, remember, I can price my product like at cost. There's nothing wrong with that. I can come, if my costs are lower than your costs, then I'm a better business person, right? I'm running a better business, and if you can't stay in business because of that, it's not my fault, right? But if I start pricing in an uncompetitive way based on other business practices, that's a problem. Okay, price discrimination. All right, price discrimination is a fun one, an interesting one, because it has this terrible connotation of something awful. You say, hey, I'm going to price discriminate, and all of a sudden, oh no, we got to call somebody. This is a bad thing. And price discrimination is when you offer different prices to different market segments. Now, there are times when you can't do that, but if the value proposition changes, then you can do this. And this is especially with the consumer market. So when you're selling to another consumer or to the consumer, we do price discrimination all the time. Movie theaters sell a ticket to the movie for children at a different rate that they sell adults. They offer a different price to senior citizens. They offer a different price to military personnel, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We see it all the time. And because somebody meets a certain criteria, they're allowed to have a price discount or an altered price. So that's perfectly fine. Where it's not fine is when you have competing businesses and you're an intermediary and you're selling to other businesses. That's a challenge. So in other words, if I had, we see this in the gasoline industry actually quite a bit, the possibility of this. But basically, if I have a product and I want to distribute the product at Walmart and I want to distribute the product at Target, then I have to be able to offer them the same price. Now, there are some caveats to that. Volume discounts, for instance, is one way we could get around that. But if I'm selling the same product, the same units, it's the same deal. If I'm offering one retailer one price and another retailer different price, that's illegal. That's called price discrimination. You can't do that. But again, I wish they'd changed the name, because in a lot of cases we offer different prices to different consumers, and it's perfectly fine to do that. Nothing wrong or immoral or anything like that. But there are some cases in a B2B environment where there are different rules that apply. Okay, price fixing. This is another one where again we collude with either people who we compete with or people in our channel, where we make collusion. We work out deals behind the scenes to control the price in the marketplace. So let's say there are two gas stations on a corner, and of the street. Like there's one corner of the street, there are two gas stations. They compete with each other, but they're also friends. So they call each other up and they set price together, and they raise the price more than they normally would. And by raising the price more than they normally would, they both win because they colluded with each other. So that's generally not good. It doesn't help the consumer, and it kind of hurts that. Now, that's what we worry about when we talk about price fixing. When competing firms they arrange the kind of what the prices are going to be ahead of time. Okay, so that's pricing. When I talk about vertical, I mean up and down, like through the channel. When I talk about horizontal, I talk about like competitors at your level in the supply chain. All right, so the last thing we'll mention here is something called a gray market. Okay, so gray markets are places, or they're customer bases, where I can sell my product outside of a normal channel at a lower or different price than the manufacturer would want, or where it would be intended to be sold. So one of the ideas is when you produce a product, you want to be able to control the image of the product, and part of the image is its price. And so we set strict rules where I'm going to offer my price, but I'm going to demand the retailer, sell it at a certain level. This controls the image of the manufacturer. In this case, there's a fashionable type of sunglasses, and so this company wants to make sure the price in the market is stable at one level to ensure the image of the brand. So what if we took the product though and we sold it at a different price, breaking that rule? Then I could sell a lot of product, of course, and I could make a lot of money, but it would impair the image of the producer, of the manufacturer. And so finding gray markets are ways to intervene that process, where I can sell the product at a lower price to a group of consumers, and ultimately the manufacturer's image gets impaired. Okay, that's a gray market. That's something, again, it's kind of this ethical deal where we want to kind of avoid. All right, so there's a bunch of things here. We've got price fixing, or we have collusion going on. We have price discrimination, where we charge different prices for different purchasers. Predatory pricing, where we price our products in a way that's going to eliminate competition or make an unfair competitive environment. And we have deceptive and illegal pricing, which is really focused on the customer and deceiving the customer in order for them to buy products that they normally wouldn't. That last one is gray marketing, and that's a little bit of a different idea, though, where we're hurting the image of the manufacturer by circumventing their price strategy through a channel. All right. So, yeah, just be aware of these ideas and think about kind of the ethics. The idea of the rules here is to create a fair market environment for competition and for customers. And anytime we impact that fairness, then there may be a legal consequence, but there'll certainly be a moral consequence that's involved. And so we want to make sure that we're careful about how we move forward when we make decisions like this. All right. Hey, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.